Welcome to Mixing Plants and Crafts. My name is Rachel. Today is going to be a fun video that I've been waiting to do for a few months now. Of course, I've been waiting for October to arrive. So because it is October, I want to feature some of my red, dark, burgundy, Gothic kind of plants. And I love these kind of plants because they do, I'm looking at them right now, because they just bring a certain kind of depth to the green space that we already have. And incorporating these kind of dark foliage can change the look of your space. Some of these dark foliage plants are low maintenance, some are not, because they're begonias, but begonias are low maintenance. It's just, you just have to keep them watered. So let's get started with the first plant. These plants are not in any particular order, although I think the last plant would be my favorite. But okay, so the first plant I want to, okay, so might not look a little grungy to you. It does for me, is the philodendron tortum. I love when the leaves start coming in. They look creepy and mysterious, and once they start unfolding, it looks like hands opening. When they're coming in, the foliage is a little darker and it gets a little lighter, but I do enjoy having this plant around. It is one of my favorite creepy looking plants. This plant so far has been really easy for me to care for. I don't think I have ever received a starter plant that I just gave it its knees. I watered it and just left it alone, and it's grown really well for me. And we can take it out of the cover pot. Of course, I need to water it, so I might just water it. I might just water it now with my drinking water. The same water I use for my plants is filtered water. When this plant matures, it looks like a palm. That is one of my goals for this tortum, is to get this plant to maturity. And I will have to know where I'm going to place it because it can get really big. So October is definitely the month for when begonias shine, because a lot of my plants in here are begonias because of their lovely dark foliage. And this plant is a plant that I featured on a repot video because it was in rehab, and it is doing great. I already propagated it for a friend of mine, and that propagated area is already growing a new shoot. So this is the begonia pink spotted maculata. So the bottom of the plant is a bit of a dark green, and that's what it looked like when it was a starter plant, but as it matured, it got darker. Dark, really dark green at the front of the plant, and then at the back of it, it's burgundy. If you're not a begonia person, I say starting off with this one would definitely add a bit of color to your space. I mean, this is just so beautiful. I cannot wait for this to grow up as big as my maculata. So, yeah. Beautiful. The spots are not as big as the maculata. It's really tiny, and it looks so great in here at night, this plant. Number two, the next plant is another begonia, and this one is a bit of a drama queen, but I have enjoyed watching her rehab and change, because when this plant came to me, it came and it did not do well with shipping. I was very disappointed, but it took a little TLC to get this plant back to life and to get it looking like this. I have a fan directly on it in the greenhouse cabinet that I have. And I think that helps because she does not like wet foliage. This is the begonia bipinnatifida. I think that's how you say it. She is she's so beautiful with, again, with this dark green kind of foliage, and in the back, red. And it's fern-like. It looks like a fern. It is These plants, I can't get over it. I love seeing how these plants, and then the stem is red as well. So beautiful, and it just fits the October vibe really well. When this plant needs water, the leaves drop so drastically, it looks like it's dead, but it's not dead. Just give it a water and then wait. So I actually have her in another cache pot where I will put the water in there and let it sit for about an hour and check to see if there's water in there, and I'll just dump it out. But it's almost like you top water, but then you allow the plant to bottom water just so you can get that soil moist. And I think what I did do that was not good for this plant is I do have some amendments in the soil, and if I were to do this again, I would not put as much amendments in the soil so it can stay moist longer. When I repot this plant, probably next year in spring, I will add more potting mix instead of amendments to the mix. So begonia bipinnatifida, looking so good out of rehab. Next plant is another plant. I'm actually in the process of combining them together because I chopped it. It's another begonia. It is the begonia brevirimosa. Brevirimosa. I don't know. Some of these names, I don't know. It is what it is. At least I know what it's called. I just don't know how to say it properly. But this beautiful plant, I would say it stands out. Some of these plants really stand out at night because the light catches the red, and it just looks so nice in a plant room. This was a bit taller, and the top was getting kind of weird. When the plant came, I chopped it. So I'm going to eventually pot them up together so they can grow together. But yeah, this one, look at it. It's black. It's black and red. And in the back of it, it's burgundy. How fun is that? You kind of have to have color in your life. Said I was done with begonias. I kind of am because they're so dramatic, but the ones that I do have in my collection, I really love having, especially this one. Oh, I can't get over these leaves. I did, when I chopped this plant off, oh yeah, there's a lot of roots in there. So, and of course there's algae. I will definitely be potting that up soon. I know begonia can grow in water, but I don't really want mine in water. Maybe I should do an experiment one day to have one begonia in water to see how it does, but I don't want to lose these leaves. I don't want to have to buy this plant again. Some of the Etsy shops I do buy plants from, they have this plant very pricey and some don't. I don't know why there's such a difference. There's another plant that looks exactly like this that's a little bit more hard to come by. I don't know, but you know, I love having this. It stands out so much in the plant room. The next plant on the list is not much because it is a tiny propagation. I did not, it's doing well now, but it's really tiny, and I shouldn't even feature it, but I am because this is going to grow up to be really nice. So this is the Hoya krohniana black. It's because of the dark foliage is why I'm featuring it on this video, and it is going to grow up to be really pretty. I would say this is not the only Hoya that I have that is kind of dark, but this is the darkest one that I have. So I'm excited to see this grow and to see it change into something a lot better than this. And I know this is kind of weird to feature a very tiny, I don't even know if this is a starter plant. This is like, it's a node. It's featuring a node for this video, but the Hoya krohniana black, very Gothic type Hoya. I don't know if you would say this would be considered Gothic kind of plant, but I think so, because for one thing, the veining of this plant looks like spiders. This one, the sinus is, there's no separation, is completely one leaf, and the foliage is dark and lovely, and when the leaves come in, it's a bit darker. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love having the forgetii. Look at that. It looks like a spider. That's spider vibes. Definitely Halloweeny and lovely. I will be needing to repot this quickly. From what I know, anthuriums don't like to be pot bound. So I'll be doing hopefully an anthurium care video um, on the channel one day. I think it seems to be two forgetii in here. Yeah, there's two plants in here. I could probably propagate one of them, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. But look at this, the foliage. Next plant is definitely one that has to be in this video. This is a very popular classic kind of philodendron. It is the philodendron micans. This one has grown really well for me, although it's kind of on the side. It's just the way I have it on my cabinet where all the light goes straight to that area. I will need to give it some support. I don't want any of this foliage to break off, but these leaves, it is, if you don't have a micans, I definitely recommend getting one. The leaves dark green, and then it's a little bit of red on the back, and there's some veining to it, but the leaves is very velvety. It's shiny. It reminds me of velvet, and that's like when you look at velvet a certain way, there's a shine to it. And I have this one trailing. I know you can put it on a moss pole, but I don't want to. I know the minute I put this on a moss pole, the stems will get thicker, and then you can only have it on a moss pole unless you propagate it. But this plant is definitely giving October vibes. I love it. Love my micans. Last year I don't think I loved it as much as I did this year. And I know it's probably because it wasn't as full, but I repotted it into a pot where it holds a little bit more moisture and it seems to love it. So I do need to give it a flush. Probably do that once I do give it a water, but it's getting really big and trying to, it's like growing. Yeah. Okay, so the next plant is a plant that I don't know what the name is because it was sold to me as philodendron cherry red, and it does not look like a cherry red. It actually looks, I don't know, I think there's another type of philodendron, or a dark cherry or a dark red. There's another type of philodendron that kind of, it doesn't look like a cherry red, because I think cherry red, the leaves are brighter and these come in dark. The leaves come in dark red and then it gets darker and then eventually it gets to be a dark green. Perfect for October. Gothic plant, and the stems are so chunky. I'm gonna take it out of the pot. It's still in the starter pot that I have it in. It's actually grown another plant right here. I will eventually take that off and allow this one to grow. And I'm probably gonna snip it off and propagate it. And then I'm planning to put some plants on the side. So plants that I have for trades. And this is going to be one of them because I really don't need two of these plants. And it looks like it's growing pretty outward. So it needs a repot, and for me to take this baby out. The leaves are perfectly nice and dark. It comes in very stunning. So this is what I mean. So like the leaves come in quite shiny, and the stem is so fat. I did have to chop off a few of the leaves, I think 2 leaves, because I had it too close to the grow light and the leaves got burnt. So I just chopped it off and it didn't really change the look of the plant. It still looked fine. You can't even tell there's 2 leaves missing. Beautiful. So the next plant is the begonia summer storm. This plant is this plant reminds me of bats and vampires. It's perfect for October. I love this plant. Of course, it's flowering for me, and I'm sure it's because it's root bound and I need to repot it out of this. I actually thought about getting rid of this plant, but no, I don't think I want to. I did snip off 2 leaves or 3 leaves for a friend of mine, but this plant definitely fall vibes. Creepy, grungy, Gothic type vibes. I mean, the leaves look at the leaves. It's perfect. It's spooky. It's perfect, spooky leaves. And yeah, I love it. Of course, it's a begonia and it is dramatic. So it needs water. That's why it's in a self-watering pot. And they do flower. I don't really particularly like the flowers. I have cut the flowers off on it, but this one seemed to creep up on me. I'll just leave it. Um, I know once the flowers come, the plant foliage slows down. And I mean, I did take off some of the foliage and it gets so big. I guess this would be considered a Rex kind of begonia. Um, yeah, it is beautiful. So the next plant is not one that I was going to add to my list, but I'm looking at it right now and it needs to go on the list. It is the anthurium crystallinum and it has to get on the list. It does give Gothic dark leaves vibes, especially because it's an anthurium. It looks like spiders. I love these leaves. These leaves are thick and velvety. It's really thick. It's like it reminds me of scrapbooking material. It's thick leaves. The look of it is gorgeous. This is a perfect month to get your dark foliage to shine. This plant did go through a spider mite season, and you can tell the leaves that's been damaged with spider mites, but it's come back and I got this is the newest leaf, so it's gorgeous, an easy one to have, and it teaches you a lot about how to care for anthuriums. And let me see what the bottom, oh boy, yeah, I'm gonna need to repot this soon. Yeah, very soon. So I'm gonna have to have an anthurium care day. But all right, one more plant to show you, and it is my favorite plant on the list. I do have a ficus burgundy outside, and I didn't even want to bring it in the house. I do need to bring it in the house because it's already cold here. I just haven't had time to spray it down because I don't like spiders. The ficus burgundy would go on this list, but I don't even want to show you what it looks like because it's not happy. It's been sunburned again this year. So I'll just tell you about it to know that it is a beautiful dark foliage plant that you should have in your collection if you're looking to collect some dark foliage and Gothic type plants. But yeah, take my word for it. Let's go to the last plant. Okay, this is the Pilea dark chocolate. It is the perfect plant for the Gothic type fall vibes, dark foliage, spooky. It is so beautiful, especially the flowers. They come in a little lighter. The leaves are so nice and dark, and the back is dark red. This is the easiest plant I have had. I've had this plant since I started my plant collection. I did end up chucking a part of this plant away when we moved into this new house last year in July. And this is what I saved. And I think it was maybe 2 inches when I saved it. And it's grown up and flowered for me. It's perfect. This is my favorite dark foliage plant. And the leaves, they're shiny. Some of the leaves have gotten really big at the top. I don't know, it's because if it's off of the light, but and the flower is just so beautiful. It is an easygoing plant. You just have to make sure you keep it watered. And if I can keep this plant watered, you can do it. This plant propagate very, very easily. I actually have some propagating right now. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, seriously, it grows so fast. The roots does not take long to appear, and yeah, I'll give it a water right now. I'm gonna have no drinking water by the time this is over. So that is it for my Gothic slash creepy slash red foliage plant collection. I love to see what you have in your collection because I want to get more. I really love these kinds of plants. Let me know, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next week.